John Constantine Unitas was an American football quarterback who played in the National Football League for 18 seasons, primarily with the Baltimore Colts, following a career that spanned from 1956 to 1973. He has been consistently listed as one of the greatest NFL players of all time. Unitas set many NFL records and was named Most Valuable Player 3 times in 1959, 1964, and 1967, in addition to receiving 10 Pro Bowl and 5 first-team All-Pro honors. He helped lead the Colts to 4 championship titles, 3 pre-merger era in 1958, 1959, 1968, and 1 Super Bowl era in Super Bowl V. His first championship victory is regarded as one of the league's greatest games and credited with helping popularize the NFL. Between 1956 and 1960, he set the record for most consecutive games with a touchdown pass at 47, which held for 52 years until it was broken in 2012 by Drew Brees. Nicknamed Johnny U and the Golden Arm, Unitas was considered the prototype of the modern-era marquee quarterback. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1979. John Constantine Unitas was born in Pittsburgh in 1933 to Francis J. Unitas and Helen Superfiski, both of Lithuanian descent. He grew up in the Mount Washington neighborhood. When Unitas was 5 years old, his father died of cardiovascular renal disease complicated by pneumonia, leaving the young boy to be raised by his mother, who worked 2 jobs to support the family. His surname was a result of a phonetic transliteration of a common Lithuanian last name Jonaitis. Attending St. Justin's High School in Pittsburgh, Unitas played halfback and quarterback. In his younger years, Unitas dreamed about being part of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish football team. But when he tried out for the team, coach Frank Leahy said that he was just too skinny and he would get murdered if he was put on the field. Instead, he attended the University of Louisville. In his 4-year career as a Louisville Cardinal, Unitas completed 245 passes for 3,139 yards and 27 touchdowns. Reportedly, the 6'1" in. By the 1952 season, the university decided to emphasize sports. The new president at Louisville, Dr. Philip Grant Davidson, reduced the amount of athletic aid and tightened academic standards for athletes. As a result, 15 returning players could not meet the new standards and lost their scholarships. But Unitas maintained his by taking on a new elective, square dancing. In 1952, coach Frank Camp switched the team to two-way football. Unitas not only played safety or linebacker on defense and quarterback on offense, but also returned kicks and punts on special teams. The Cardinals won their first game against Wayne State, and then Florida State in the second game. Unitas completed 16 of 21 passes for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was said that Unitas put on such a show at the Florida State game that he threw a pass under his legs for 15 yards. The rest of the season was a struggle for the Cardinals, who finished 3-5. Unitas completed 106 of 198 passes for 1,540 yards and 12 touchdowns. The team won their first game in 1953 against Murray State and lost the rest for a record of 1-7. One of the most memorable games of the season came in a 59-6 loss against Tennessee. Unitas completed 9 out of 19 passes for 73 yards, rushed 9 times for 52 yards, returned 6 kickoffs for 85 yards, 1 punt for 3 yards, and had 86% of the team's tackles. The only touchdown the team scored was in the fourth quarter when Unitas made a fake pitch to the running back and ran the ball 23 yards for a touchdown. Unitas was hurt later in the fourth quarter while trying to run the ball. On his way off the field, he received a standing ovation. When he got to the locker room, he was so tired that his jersey and shoulder pads had to be cut off. Because he could not lift his arms, Louisville ended the season with a 20-13 loss to Eastern Kentucky. Unitas completed 49 of 95 passes for 470 yards and 3 touchdowns. Unitas was elected captain for the 1954 season, but due to an early injury did not see much playing time. His first start was the third game of the season, against Florida State. Of the 34-man team, 21 were freshmen. The 1954 Cardinals went 3-6. With their last win at home against Morehead State, Unitas was slowed by so many injuries his senior year. His 527 passing yards ended second to Jim Houser's 560. After his collegiate career, the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFL drafted Unitas in the 9th round. However, he was released before the season began as the odd man out among 4 quarterbacks trying to fill 3 spots. Steelers head coach Walt Kieseling had made up his mind about Unitas. He thought he was not smart enough to quarterback an NFL team, and he was not given any snaps in practice with the Steelers. Among those edging out Unitas was Ted Marchibroda, future longtime NFL head coach. Out of pro football, Unitas, by this time married, worked in construction in Pittsburgh to support